Guys, I'm convinced that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is surrounded by people who genuinely hate him. I'm talking about people who want to put him to shame all the times in front of the public, people who want him to trend for the wrong reasons. Tinubu has one specific skill that, I just cannot stop thinking about. He has the skill that no Nigerian president has ever possessed, and that is identifying the wrong, worst set and kind of people in history. People who are always on the wrong side of history. He knows how to just identify them, bring them closer and make them part of his government. That brings me to today's conversation. I want to introduce you guys to Gilbert Chagoury, the man whom President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has just recently conferred Nigeria's second highest national honor on. The honor is called the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, also known as the GCON. If you are not so vast or familiar with Nigeria's history, you're probably thinking, who the hell is this man that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu just gave this honor to? Who is he? Is he a good person? Don't say that. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Gilbert. And then you can make that evaluation. You tell yourself, do you think this man is a good person? Do you think he should be honored with Nigeria's second highest honor? Okay, grab your popcorn because this is about to be an interesting episode. Gilbert is a controversial Lebanese Nigerian billionaire. He was born in Lagos State, so he's very much Nigerian like you and I. If you know you already know the famous Echo Atlantic City. Yes, this same Echo Atlantic City in Lagos is owned by Gilbert. So when I see you guys come online to argue who owns Lagos, sometimes I just laugh because the real owners of Lagos are not even on the internet. They're not exchanging words with you. They are cashing out. And with that, who Gilbert is. Gilbert also owns High Tech Construction Limited. That was the same company who got awarded, a section of the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway project. Guys, the coastal project is one of the most expensive single-handed projects in Nigeria's history by a Nigerian government. This project cost billions of dollars. It's about $13 billion. And Gilbert was awarded Section 2 of this project. And it is interesting to know that Gilbert is an ally and a friend of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's a very close friend. I'm going to tell you how close they are, what their relationship looks like in a few minutes. So that makes me wonder, why and how did Gilbert sort of win the bidding process, or how was he awarded this project? That's because we have no idea what the bidding process was like or who else was bidding for that section, because the government did not make it public. The government broke the law. Nigeria has a Public Procurement Act of 2007, and the act states that major government projects are supposed to be awarded through an open and competitive bidding process. The law says that contracts should be publicly advertised and bidders must be given a fair and equal chance to compete in the bidding process, and projects should be awarded to the lowest evaluated bidder who meets technical and financial requirements. However, that was not the case when it got to this project, because the government did everything in secret. We did not know. We just knew one day that, High Tech is going to be handling this section of the project. How did that come about? We don't know. The public cannot tell you because the government did everything behind closed doors. David Umahi, who is the Minister for Work, says that the government approved High Tech and, other construction, that the government approved this rather through a restrictive bidding process. Is that what the law says? What the hell is a restrictive bidding process? The public are supposed to know. It is supposed to be public, but this was done behind closed doors. Like I said earlier, this man is a close friend and ally of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Doesn't this raise conflict of interest? I don't know, but this doesn't just sit right with me, because this is the friend of the president is being awarded with Nigeria's most iconic project. He's the one handling this section of the project. I don't know. There's a lot of red flags everywhere. And again, this is not a criticism of the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, because I personally love this project. I just feel that we need to do things the right way. We need to follow the law. That's why it's the law. It's the law because it's supposed to be a law. It's not for decoration. To also give you an idea of how closely related this man is to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Back in 2024, when the president's plane had issues, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu flew in this man's private jet. Sarah reporters reported that the president left Lagos to South Africa to attend the inauguration of South Africa's president, Cyril Ramaphosa, in a private jet that belonged to his Lebanese friend, which is Gilbert. So we don't know if the government had to pay or whatever, but the president went on presidential duties in his friend's private jet. This is the same Gilbert who is now being honored with the second highest honor in Nigeria's history, the same one who got awarded a section of the Calabar Coastal Highway. Now let's take a deep look into some of this man's controversies. But before we get there, Business Day, which is part of Arise News, reported that leaked documents, corporate documents, have shown that Seyi Tinubu, the son of the president, co-owns an offshore company with Ronald Chagoury, who happens to be a nephew of Gilbert, which means not only is President Tinubu closer to Gilbert and his family, it looks like to me President Tinubu's family and Gilbert's family are closely related. They have things going on that we probably don't even know about. Frontline World, which is a news outlet, referred to him in a news article dating back to 2010 as a one-time advisor of late dictator Sani Abacha. That is in fact correct because this man worked side by side with Sani Abacha. If you're Nigerian, you probably know about Sani Abacha. Sani Abacha was a dictator. He took a lot of money from Nigeria, and up till this day, it's still being recovered. There's a popular quote that I cannot verify, where people say that Sani Abacha said, no matter how broke he goes, he will never be as broke or as Dangote. Dangote is the richest black man in the world. This man took a lot of money from the CBN, took it to different countries in the world. He stole Nigeria's money. And now we are finding out that this same Gilbert was working and was an advisor of Sani Abacha. Paint me shocked. Let's get into it. In this same article, Nuhu Ribadu, who was the then EFCC chairman, said that Gilbert was the main guy in the corruption that defined Abacha's regime. So when you're talking about Abacha's regime, he was implying that you cannot talk about Abacha's regime without talking about Gilbert, because all the money Abacha took, Gilbert allegedly facilitated that. That's what the EFCC chairman said in that article. He also said, and I quote, "You couldn't investigate corruption without looking at Gilbert." That's what Ribadu told a journalist in an interview back in California in that same article. So that tells you that Gilbert is not just an ordinary person. If an EFCC chairman is saying that if you want to investigate or look into corruption, you have to look at this person, that raised a lot of red flag, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me. It tells me that this person, you just need to tread carefully when interacting with this person. 6 years after Abacha's death in 2004, Ribadu, that's the same EFCC chairman, wanted to take Gilbert down at all costs. Ribadu said that Gilbert was the one who made it possible for Abacha to steal public money, billions of dollars, and in the process, he also enriched himself and his pocket. That makes me think, when we look at Gilbert's wealth today, did any part of it sort of come from Abacha's regime? I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. Ribadu had planned to arrest Gilbert and, prosecute him. But the night when Gilbert was supposed to be arrested, that night was supposed to land into Nigeria, and EFCC was waiting to capture Gilbert and prosecute him. But it was reported that same night, as Gilbert landed in Nigeria, he took off immediately. Ribadu says that he believed that someone at the airport might have tipped him off and told him that he was going to get arrested that night. That was how Gilbert escaped being arrested. Now you're wondering, who is Nuhu Ribadu? Who are we talking about? That name sounds familiar if you're versed again with Nigerians' politics. Yes, it's the same Ribadu that you know, this same one. This is his picture. He is currently Nigeria's national security advisor for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And somehow, Mr. National Advisor failed to advise the president about this same one who he condemned back in 2010. This same man who in this 2010 article he described as a very corrupt figure. he gave us an idea of how corrupt and how he facilitated corruption in Nigeria under Abacha's regime. But somehow, this same man failed to advise the president that it was a bad idea to give this man Nigeria's second honor. I find it funny that Ribadu now works for the same government who has honored the same man that he described as a very corrupt person. Like, is this a coincidence? I don't know. Tell me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. I'm going to give you more of this man. Nuhu Ribadu, that's the same Mr. Advisor, told this same reporter in that article that Gilbert vouched for Abacha's sons in banks where the source of their assets and income were, questioned. So which means when Abacha's sons go to a bank and they wanted to, do some transactions and the bank was, just feels like there's something fishy going on with your finances and the source of your income, Gilbert was the one who would vouch for Abacha's son. Like I said before, if you had financial dealings with Abacha in this capacity, I'm sorry, I just cannot trust you. If you can vouch for Abacha's son, then you are as evil and as corrupt as Abacha, in my opinion. That's all I have to say. And now it just doesn't end there. I'm about to reveal something that when I read, I'm like, what the hell? Did President Tinubu know about all of this? According to the U.S. Department of Justice, federal investigators found that Gilbert conspired to violate federal election laws by scheming to make illegal campaign contributions to U.S. presidential and congressional candidates. When I read this, I was wondering, of what interest is the U.S. politics to Gilbert? If Gilbert can do this in a lawful country as America, imagine what he could have done or what he would have done or what he has done in a lawless country like Nigeria. I'm not saying he has, I'm just saying imagine. I mean, now we know that he probably has, because if he had dealings with Abacha, he's as good as Abacha or as bad as Abacha, whatever. And to resolve this case, Gilbert agreed to pay about $1.8 million and he entered into a deferred prosecution agreement. This means that prosecutors agreed not to pursue a criminal trial as long as the terms and the agreement of this case were met. So he wasn't sent to prison largely because the case was settled outside the court and he accepted responsibilities. He paid the penalty, he paid the fine, which was $1.8 million. Also again, a 2000 Swiss court document proceedings confirmed what we've been saying all this while. It confirmed that Gilbert was found guilty of money laundering and of helping a criminal organization move money linked to Abacha's era. The Swiss court fined him and he agreed to surrender funds that was connected to that case. So all we've been talking about how this man is connected to Abacha's regime and how he helped Abacha and all of those things, this court found him guilty. So this is someone who has a money laundering case stained all over his name, all over his image, but somehow your president thought it was a good idea to honor him with Nigeria's second honor. Now, you often hear people say, but he wasn't convicted or he didn't go to prison. Yet, that's correct. And that's because the case was expunged. And expunged doesn't mean that he was innocent or he was cleared. It just means that he paid a fine and he surrendered the money that the court said he had laundered during Abacha's era. And he met the conditions of the settlement, so the Swiss law allowed the conviction to be removed from public criminal records. And the finding of guilt again was not overturned. It just simply means his name was taken off official list after the punishment was served. I don't know how he's lucky, because he just sort of like gets away with all the bad things that he does. I'm going to paste the court documents and links to everything that I've said in this video in the description box. If you want to fact check me, you can fact check me, because everything that I said can be verified. Again, the court document was written in French, but you can use a third-party service to translate like I did. And you guys, it was Femi Otedola who broke this news on X, formerly known as Twitter. In that post, Femi Otedola referred to Gilbert as his role model. And I'm here thinking, what part of Gilbert's life is worth emulating? What did Femi Otedola see in Gilbert's life and say, oh, this is a role model, this is someone I want to be like? Is it the embezzlement? Is it the corruption? Is it the money laundering? Is that what Femi Otedola thinks looks beautiful and is glamorous? Is that what he thinks is worth emulating? Because if you're going to call someone your role model, it's because they are living a life that you want to emulate or a life that you want to live for yourself. So does Femi Otedola think being a money launderer is glamorous and is beautiful? I respect Femi Otedola a lot. So it was shocking kind of seeing that post come from him. It's like this country sort of promotes bad people. If you have bad behavior, don't worry. You could be promoted someday because welcome to Nigeria under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Like, who are the people in Tinubu's circle? Didn't they advise him? Didn't they tell him this was going to be a bad idea? Was President Tinubu aware of all these scandals, money laundering, embezzlement, corruption, election fraud? Didn't they look at all of this and say, no, this man doesn't fit. He's not worthy enough to receive this honor? I want to know what the criteria is at this point. I want to know what the criteria is. Like, how is this decision made? Tinubu gives this man a national honor as a birthday gift on his 80th birthday. Tinubu consistently just sort of embarrasses us with every single opportunity he gets. Guys, you're president. This is where I'm going to end my conversation today, and I hope this video sort of give you rather an insight to who Gilbert is. And I want you to think. Do you think this man deserves this honor? Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, bye now.